Echo test this. Hello guys. Okay. Hello guys. Today we're going to continue with React. So let me just pin this guy here. So now let us continue with the MC, the questions, and here, as we said, 100 minutes. So I just put the time here. Time on the site here. Okay. No. Okay. So now let's go on to this part. How can you import and export component in your React? So before answering the question, let us take a look at the text. So basically what the text is saying is that in earlier lectures we have learned, in this lecture we shall learn to look at how to import export React. In this example we have a cat component that belongs to cat.jsx. For the extension we are using .jsx extension. Okay, the cat component returns a JSX markup with a title and image for a cat called Mr. Whisker. Okay, so let us see. Here's the function that returns this markup, and it's inside a div with class name card, and inside that div we have heading Mr. Whisker and this guy, how they call him again, source image and source image, and with its different attributes, which is source and alt. So if you want to use cat component in another file, we need to first export it like this. So it's true. Normally you can also do this if you want to export. Let me just open this guy. So if you want to export something, you can use the export sign keyword, export keyword function, and you have cat here, and with this it will still work. So now we are using default keyword because this will be the default export from the model. So you can also choose to export the component on the same line as the component definition like this. So as I said, export. So what is remaining here is default, because default will be the, I don't understand it. So because this will be the default export from the model. Okay, you can choose to import child component in another parent component, and or import them in the root component file. For example, we will import cat component inside the root component. So let's see. Every React project will have a top level component, typically app.gx with the extension JSX. Okay, that's right. So now it seems as if we are importing the cat component from the model cat, and we shall call it using this fragment, using this HTML, like using this tag for cat. So that's basically what the guys are saying here. So now let's go on to the question. Which of the following is the correct way to export Hello, Jainam. So which of the following way is the correct way to export a React component? So the first option here is this one. Export default. Okay, is correct. It's massive. This one is correct. Function React dev. This one is still massive. This one is correct. So let me check for the other one. Yeah, this one is wrong because it's not export components. Export default. This one also is wrong. The syntax is wrong. Yeah, what's missing here is export. So the right one here is export default. So if actually you're learning JavaScript and you want to start learning React, I will basically recommend you to go to Screenbar, either Screenbar. You go, they really have a nice React course. I think here is it. Or you can go to freeCodeCamp, where what I'm using right now. So basically, those are the two options that I would recommend you to do. There are other options, for example, Code Academy and so on and so forth, but those are the things that I use personally. Now let's continue with the next question. Where will you typically import a child component like cat component in a React project? So eventually it's not inside the HTML project. HTML, uh, how long? I've been learning React. I've personally learned React using the Screenbar course. So I have basically completed. If you check it, let me just show you the thing real quickly. So here's it. So I have completed all the basics. So static pages, direct data-driven React state, site effect, everything. The only thing that is remaining is this project one and project two. So I can say that it has been 1 month that I've been learning React. So what I'm doing here, what I'm basically doing here is on the freeCodeCamp course, I'm just learning to I'm just revising my React concept before starting project new project. So but if you want videos, I can recommend you Bro Code. Is on YouTube. He has also a wonderful video course about React. So let me just show you the thing real quickly. Bro Code, you just go on YouTube, you type Bro Code React. This is it. So it's very, even though it's the video was made in 2004, 2024, I think that is still recent, so you can learn from there and it's still good. So I started with it, but I prefer to do on Screenbar because it was more interactive. I hope that I answer your question. So now let's go back to my question here. So basically they're asking me to know where to import a child component like cat in a React project. So eventually I already know the answer even without looking at all the possibilities, because it is in a parent component or the root component file, typically app.jxx. So what I understood from React is that, for example, if guys should give me whiteboard. Let me just open this whiteboard, you guys understand, to justify my answer. I want to justify my answer, so let me just try and illustrate it very fast. So let's say, for example, I know super developer, super simple dev. Yeah, I know the guy. He's also doing a nice content about programming. So he's a nice that. I don't know if he has a course on React. So as I was saying, in React, when you declare, when you install a React project in your VS Code, there's always this index file, index.html, and afterward there is this app.js. So basically, all your component that you are using or you are creating, that we shall call child component, are being used inside here. So that they will be called inside the app.js file, and afterward, this app.js file is being called inside the index.html file. So basically, it is like you have something like div id is equals to root, so etc. So that's how it's working. So that's why I think that my answer is correct. So now let's go to the next question. What is the purpose of import statement in the app component? So the import statement in the app component is simply to import, literally to import the component inside the parent component. So because the app component is a parent app component. So now let's look at the options. It automatically styles the wrong. There's no styling here. The only thing that does styling in web development, I think, is CSS, so it's wrong. It imports the cat component, allowing it to be used within the app component. That's correct. So I don't even need to look at the other answers. So let us check if I'm correct. Okay, I got it all right. So now let's go to the next questions. Now I think here they're talking about installation, and we shall talk about Vite and how it can be used to set up a new React project. So that's what I was talking about. This npm create Vite at last my React app template React. So unlike working with smaller vanilla HTML, CSS, and JavaScript project, starting a new React project includes a few more steps to ensure that everything runs correctly. Instead of trying to set up all necessary configuration by yourself, there are tools that will help you do that for you. One of the most popular tools for setting up project is Vite. So I can just check this Vite. So Vite also does the same thing for Next.js. So basically, it helps us to configure React project. So let me just put this thing down here. Okay, now let's just continue. You can open up a new project and see the React boilerplate code that Vite has provided for you. Image showing the boilerplate Vite files and folders in code editor, including public, source folder, and the git ignore slint.configure.js, index.html, what I was talking about, the JSON package, the README file, and the vite.js file, .config.js file. Point. So now the great thing about Vite is that it only provides the files that's absolutely necessary to get started with React project. So to actually run a project as is, you will need to install the dependency using the following command. So npm install and so on. The cd, this is a Linux command. So change directory, and it goes to this directory with the name my React app. Command ensures that you change to the correct directory where your project is located. Afterward, the np install command is used to install dependencies needed to run properly a React project. Dependencies are libraries or packages that your React project requires in order to function correctly, such as React itself, React DOM, and other third-party packages that provide additional functionality. So running npm install will read the package.json file in the project directory and install all the dependency listed there. Okay, I see. So I think that I have a React project here, so we can just go and maybe check it. I'll do it later because I don't have enough time now. So now let's continue. And once the dependency are installed, you should notice a new folder in the project called Node Modules. So the Node Modules folder is where all the packages and libraries required by the project are stored. The folder contains the actual code for the dependency listed in the package.json file, including both your project's direct dependency and any dependency of those dependencies. Okay, so dependency of dependencies. So afterward, to run the project, you use npm run dev command and open a new browser tab at this local host. So you should see a starter template that Vite has provided for you. If you need to stop the local server, press Ctrl+C in the command line to actually see the code for the starter template. You can go into your project inside source folder and you should see the app.jsx file. As we said, this file is the parent component. Very important to know that. So that's where all the child components are being rendered. So from there you can start to modify the file, save your changes and see new changes display in the browser, and with that you are ready to begin building React application. So let's go on to the questions. So the first question is, what is the main advantage of using Vite when starting a new React project? Because it provides us with a template, and in that template we have all the required the required configurations that will help our React app to function very well. So I think that's basically it. So let's look at the options. It should automatically write the main ROM. It does not write any logic. It provides a faster development experience by automating configurations and build processes. That's right. So the next one is it spots all security vulnerability in React project ROM. It installs external libraries like jQuery and Bootstrap. That's wrong. Libraries that's wrong. Libraries and all the rest are being installed by sorry, they're not installed. I wanted to say they have been installed by Node Modules, which is wrong, because normally you cannot install. I don't think that you can install a library, such a library. Let me ask ChatGPT. I don't think that you can install Bootstrap or jQuery libraries with the help of npm install. That's it. I think the correct answer is it provides a faster development experience by automating the build process. So the next question is, what does the npm, which is node package, something like that? Let me ask ChatGPT. The meaning of npm. taking some time. Package manager for JavaScript or Node.js. Node package manager. So that's it. So Node package manager followed by install command do after creating a React project with Vite. So the first option is it start the development server. That's wrong. The second option is it install the dependency listed in the package .json file. That's right. Basically, we read that, so I will not go on the other answers. I will not look at the other answers. So the last question is, which directory contains the starting code that is found in the app.js, GSX file? So basically the folder, so basically we're looking for a directory. A directory is a folder, very important to note that. So home is not, I don't know what home is. Index is wrong because there's no folder called index there. Source is the correct answer. It's true that there is what we call there's a public folder when we install the boilerplate of a React application. So let me just show you guys this. Yeah, there's a public folder. But in the public folder, I think that we store images, PDF that can be used, resources, let's say, that can be used in the app. So basically the right answer here is source, SLC, and I got it correctly. So we are done with this lecture. So now the next part here is doing the workshop. So let's try and do this workshop together. So how does the preview looks like? Dashboard, widget, and apps. So and when nothing happens, click. Sorry, calendar, chat. Okay, interesting. So what they want us to do now is you guys should give me a minute. I'm coming back. So I am back. So now let us try and do this thing. Okay, let us continue. What they're asking us to do here, the first step here. So basically what we are doing now is a workshop to build a reusable mega nav bar. Okay. In this workshop, you will practice working with React functional component by building a reusable nav bar. All the CSS have been provided for you, so you can focus on creating the navbar. Start by defining a navbar functional component. In the next step, you will start to build out the component using JSX. Make sure to use a name export when exporting the component as it is, as it will be imported in the HTML file. Here's an example of a name export. Also, React functional component needs to start with a capital letter. Okay, functional component needs to start with a capital letter because it's a way to differentiate from regular HTML element. Okay. So what are they asking me to do here is you should use the export keyword to export the navbar. Okay, actually, okay, they're asking me to create a navbar component. So export default function nav. I think that is capital. Yeah, navbar. Navbar. I think nice. Okay, let me check my code. It's wrong. So in this workshop, you create a component and it says start by defining a navbar functional component. Okay. What's wrong here? It's not working. What may be wrong here? Make sure to use a named component export. Use a named export. Okay. Let me see. Maybe it's because let me see. Export navbar. It's wrong. Still wrong. So what's wrong? Export. Still wrong. What's wrong here? Reset. So here's an example of a name export. So I did it. So okay. Use the export keyword to export the navbar. So I don't know why it's wrong here. Ask ChatGPT what's wrong here. There's no export default. I thought that there was this guy I'm supposed to do. I was supposed to write this default stuff and it's working now. So the problem was with the default. So I thought that it was normally supposed to be like this. So but there's no problem. Let us continue. Ask me later. So now the next step is it's time to build a navbar component using JSX. You have learned in the previous lectures that JSX is a syntax extension for JavaScript that allows you to write HTML-like code within JavaScript and making it easier to create and manage React component. Here's a reminder of the JSX what the JSX looks like. So basically here's it. Okay. So I see how that they define the function they use the arrow function syntax to define this function up. const. Okay, I see. So now they say that they're telling me that inside the nav bar component, return a nav element that has class name navbar. So a nav element is an HTML element, and basically to do that is pretty simple. Nav, sorry. An navbar element, and the class name here is navbar. That's it. So the reason why class name is used here instead of class is because class is a reverse keyword in JavaScript. So React uses class name as a way to apply classes to element. Okay, thank you. I think that I'm done. Let me check. Correct. Let's go on to the next one. The next step here is to create UL, an unordered list element inside the nav element, so navigation element. Inside that unordered element, create 3 list items. So to do that is pretty easy. So closing tag and close the tag. So list item. So the first list item that we can say, let's say fruit. Let's say fruit orange. I'm gonna copy this guy. I must not use. I must not use the same thing. So let me just do it very fast. So I got it right. Sorry, no. Go to the next question. The asking me now give all the 3 list element. Give all the 3 list element a class name of nav item. So don't forget that in React we use class name instead of class because in JavaScript class is reverse. In JavaScript class is a reverse keyword. So React uses class name to do classes, so to create classes item. Okay, that been done. Let us copy and paste it down here and here. So okay, I'm alright. Correct. Let's go on to the next one. Create an anchor element inside the first list element. Give the A element an href attribute of, I don't know how they call this. Let me ask ChatGPT. Pronounced this. I think that is I don't know. Ash. For example, social media hashtag ash numbering number sign. Okay. Okay, let's say it is ash.
Do you mean the symbol hacker? Here's how to pronounce it depending on context. General computing hash, social media when followed by a word, hashtag, e.g. a React, hashtag React, telephones, pound sign, numbering,
Okay.
number sign.
So now it's ash. So the text should be dashboard. So create this guy. Text dashboard. And the attribute should be hash. Alright. Let us move to the next challenge. So create another element, a element, anchor element inside the second. So create another anchor element inside the second list element. Give it the href attribute of hash and the text widget. Let me just create it very fast. Href hash and the text of widget. Let's move on to the next exercise. So the next exercise is the next step is telling us to we should create insert in the list item a button element with area expanded attribute set to false. Also set the text button to apps. Okay. The area expanded attribute will communicate to the screen reader user that the button triggers an expandable submenu. Sorry. Okay. Button. This way again, button. So now they say the text is up. They say the area expanded menu has to be set to false. Okay. There's a problem. So I don't know if I have to use this braces. Let me check. Okay, it's correct. Let's move on to the next part. Still inside the third list element, create another list for group for the pop-up. Okay, give it the class name of submenu and area label of app. Okay. Now let us create this unordered list. Unordered list. Let's go on and say the class name or Arial. Class name of submenu and area label should be let's say label of apps. Okay, let's move on to the next part. Create 3 new lists using the inside your submenu element. So to create new list element, it's pretty easy. So 2, 3. Go to the move on to the next step. Inside each list element, create an anchor element of href with attribute hash. So hello Burak, I'm doing good, and you? Okay, there's an error here. Oh, okay, that's it. I'm supposed to create an anchor element. I made an error. So I was supposed to even check whether I did it correctly. So anchor element A, and inside it I search this guy. Let me delete this guy here. So copy this guy and inside here set it. So let me check. Okay. So the next step here is to finish things up. Set a text calendar for the first anchor tag chat. Hello. Basically, I'll be doing videos on JavaScript, but if you are interested that we should work together, you can go on my channel description. You will see a Discord group there, and you can enter the group, and we shall chat together. So I should create a text of calendar for the first anchor tag. Chat for the second, and email for the third one. Okay, let's do it first. Chat, say calendar. Next one is chat, and next one is email. So correct, let's move on. So we are done with the challenge. There's no problem, Burak. Don't forget to subscribe and like the live so that the YouTube algorithm can propose the live to other people interested in JavaScript, React, and so on and so forth. Okay, now let us move on to the next challenge, which is to build a reusable footer. Okay, normally a footer is what we find at the end of a website. So now, here's it. So the first thing we should do here is to understand the project. So here's a footer, here's an example of the project. So they're saying that they want to build an app that's functionally similar to this example project. Try not to copy the example project, give it your own personal style. And basically, I don't want to give it a personal, I just want to do the exercise. So the objective here is to fulfill the user stories below and to get all the tests to pass to complete the lab. So the user story number one is you should export the footer component. Okay, I think that the first user's thing is correct. Let me just run it, and normally it's supposed to say it because of this export component. So now the second user story here is your footer component should return a footer element that contains all the other elements. So basically we shall simply go inside this bracket and use the keyword return, and afterwards use this the tag, the HTML tag for footer. So that's it. That's all. The next user story here is your footer element should have at least 3 unordered lists, each with at least 2 items. Okay. Let me try, because I don't like when it's like that. Okay. Normally it's supposed to, we have to, because it's supposed to be on the same line. So that's it. That's why it was not working. So let's start with the unordered list. Unordered list. At least 3 unordered lists with each with at least 2 list item in it. So let me say so let's say 1. Copy this guy, copy and paste. That's it. So I copy this guy, 4, 2, 3. At least 1 paragraph element with a copyright symbol. Okay, the paragraph element I think is this guy. I think it's like all right reserved. That's it. You cannot join the Discord server. Let me check it. Yeah. Yes. Let me send you the link. Invite. Birak, just give me a minute. Basically, here's the server. I think it's invite people. Let me copy the link. Here's a link of the Discord server. So try again here. And if it does not work, I don't pretend it. So now let's continue. At least 3 links with hr with href value to value set to hash, and the link content set to an icon or a text of your choice. Okay. Let me just run the test. Let me try and say, okay, let me try and do this anchor element stuff. A1 href is equals to They say at least 3 links. Three links. So let me try. I'm gonna go and paste it here. And paste it also here. So basically that's how we are doing. We do a component. So it's pretty easy. So now let's go on to the next lecture. This guy. Afterward, there will be React hooks, state, and routing. Performance, okay, and testing. TypeScript. TypeScript is a popular language. Okay, now let's continue. The next one you have to learn is working with data in React. That's where we shall talk about props, properties. Let me drink some water. You guys should give me a minute. Okay, now, wow. So I don't really know. So I don't know why the Discord channel is disturbing. So normally it's supposed to work, but just contact me directly on Discord. I don't know how to add people. Maybe. Yeah, this is my username. So now let us continue. How to pass props from parent component to child component. So the previous lecture we learned how to build small component in React like this. Okay, Burak, I'm really happy that you did it. I'll check it after. I need to finish this thing quickly. So like this. Okay, this is a function. Let's say it's a component, constant name, and we have return. We return this back this JSX markup. So basically what happens here, Yeah, it's what we call template literals in JavaScript. So now let's continue. We can choose to nest the component inside another parent component or a root component like this. So here's the greeting component and we just nest it here. Okay. So now what the thing is telling us is that, okay, we have a parent component, right? Whiteboard. Guys, should give me a minute. Okay, so let me open this side. Okay, so let me remove this pen, increase the size. So basically we have a parent component like this, so parent, and we have a child component, child. So let's say the relation goes like this. Okay, so now they're telling us that what if we wanted to display a different name like Naomi, Tom, or Oliver? This is where React props comes in. Props, properties, props, which is short for property, is a way parent component for parents component to pass data down to the child component. Props can be any type, string, number, and boolean or arrays. So let us update from our example from earlier to now accept the name props. So now let's see. Okay, so we export app. So now here's it. I don't know. Now props is like, okay, props is this parameter, and we console log it, and props is being defined. Where is it being defined? Here in app. Okay, so basically we're taking the name, so let's say name, yeah, and displacing it and displacing inside here. So that's why we talk of prop. No, that's wrong. The thing is that I think that this child component creates a placeholder. Let's say this is a placeholder for name, and inside the parent component we can replace this placeholder with a name that, let's say for example my name Allen. That's it. So now let us continue. So that's basically how it works. So now for the child component called greeting, we are now using props name instead of hard coding the name Jessica. We are also logging the props to the console, which is showing as an object. So then inside the parent app component we are passing the value to name prop, so it can be passed down to the child, and the result will be the same on the screen earlier, but now we have created a more flexible component. So here's an example: greeting with Naomi, greeting with Tom, greeting with Jessica and Olive, and so on and so forth. So you can also choose to use object destructuring in the props to make it more readable. Okay, so here is an object. Let's say like this. This code achieves the same result but makes it clearer which props the component is expecting to receive. So now let us continue. Let's say for example, yeah, sometimes you can have a lot of properties that you have to pass as props. Instead of passing them one by one, you can use a spread operator. Okay. The spread operator after converting them into objects. Here's an example. Let's say function developer card. Here is it. And this guy, okay, I see. The developer component accepts three props, which are age, name, and country. And in the parent component, we can use the spread syntax to pass all the properties from an object as an individual props to the child component. So normally here is the guy. So he created this constant, this object, developer object, name, alias, and so on and so forth, and he returned a div with class name app, and inside that div we take developer class and we fill in this developer object. Okay. I don't know, normally is it supposed to, let's just try to visualize it. Let me clear the whole canvas. Clear the whole canvas, yes. So for example here we have let's say we have this app, which is a parent component, and we have this child component. So child component is the developer card. It's a developer card, and we have like name, age, and let's say country. Let's say name, age, and country. Now what's happening is that since this guy, the relationship between app and this child component is that and this developer card component is that the developer card component is the child component of this, so, and the app component is the parent component of the developer component. So now in the app component we can pass in data, let's say like the object that we created, name, and so on and so forth, so that it, when rendering the developer card, this name are being replaced, so this data are being replaced exactly in the corresponding place. So that's basically what's happening here. So now let us continue. Let's go on to the questions. So in React, how do you pass a prop named message with a string hello to the child component? That's it. I think it's this guy. This one is wrong. Because as you can see, so let us continue. How will you access a prop name user inside a functional child component, assuming that the prop had passed as props object. This is not, because if you check very well, it's true that we use the structuring here, but let's just look again inside. Yeah, as you can see, props name. So that's it. And if we just like structure it, we don't need to precise props name, something like that. So I think it's this one. What is the correct way to pass all properties of an object as an individual props to child component? To use object destructuring. So that's it. I think that we are done here. Let's move on to the next part. So now let us talk about conditional rendering and the rest. So conditional rendering works in React like this. As you can see, conditional rendering in React allows you to create a dynamic user interface. It is used to show different content based on certain conditions or state within your application. The most common approach of using conditional rendering includes if statement, ternary operator, and logical and operator. The simplest form of rendering, conditional rendering, uses the if statement. Here is it. So basically what's happening here is that there's this destructuring stuff, object destructuring, which comes as a parameter, and inside the function, the component, we check whether is login is true or false. So depending on its boolean value, we either return welcome back or please sign in again. So in this example, the greet component checks the login props. So just know that everything that is here inside, that is inside the parameter, and that's inside the component as parameter. We call it in React props. That's it. So in this example greeting, we check is log props. If it's true, we return welcome message. We already spoke about that. Now here's an example using greeting component inside the parent app component. So now the function here is this. So the returned. So now we used basically. So greeting here is false. So normally what will happen is that when we shall call this greeting component, so the props of greeting here is false, and when we shall call this greeting component, the text that shall be shown, that will be shown is this one, please sign in again. So it's interesting. For simpler condition, we can use the ternary operator. So this is it. Interesting. Or another common pattern for conditional rendering is using the logical and. This is particularly useful when you want to render something or nothing based on a condition. So the message, which is a prop, and if it's true, then we render the paragraph message. Which message is it? In this example, the paragraph element with the message is only rendered if the message prop is truthy. So if it's falsy, meaning it's an empty string, no undefined, nothing rendered. Okay, that's it. So now let's speak about the difference between truth values and false value. As long as a data type is empty, null or undefined, it becomes a false value. And when it is not empty, it's a truth value. So it basically depends on of the data type. So because in Boolean data type, there's nothing like empty or not empty. It's either true or false. So now let's go on to answer the questions. Which of the following is not a common method for conditional rendering in React? Switch statement. What will be rendered by the following code if message is an empty string? As we said, an empty string represents a false value. So that's the reason why nothing shall be rendered. There will be an error. That's it basically. In the following code, what type of conditional rendering is being used here? Let me check. Normally is prop, yeah, hello, and then other hello guest or hello guest. Okay, I think that is ternary operator. So I had something wrong. This guy. I think I had it wrong because basically when it's false, nothing will render on the string to the screen. But they said nothing will render to the screen. It's as if nothing means an empty div. That's it. Okay, let me try again. Okay, that's it. How do you render a list? Render list in React. So guys should give me a minute. Let me drink some water. So how do you render a list in React? So let us look at the code. So the function fruit list, component fruit list, here is it. So now what it's doing is an ordered list has been declared, and inside it we have like this map function that will go and map through all the elements of the function and put it inside this list element. So by doing so, we can render elements list in React. So in this example, the map function iterates over each item array. For each fruit, it creates a new element containing the fruit's name. The newly created array of list element is then displayed inside the parent tag. However, when rendering lists in React, it's important not to forget that the key props for each element in the list, the key must always be unique, and it helps React identify which element has been changed, been added, or been removed, which is essential for efficient rendering and updating the list. So now let us look at it, the key prop. So okay, it's interesting. So when rendering, we should take in consideration this key prop stuff. So it goes to fruit, index, and fruit. Okay, because okay, I understand. Guys, give me a minute. Just open this window. So now let us continue. So in this refactor example, we are creating a unique key for each list item by concatenating the fruit name with its index. So React also allows us to render complex structure. For example, you might have an array of objects representing users, each with multiple properties. So let's see this thing. Arrays of users, okay, ID, name, and email. So if we want to render this, we have to still map all the elements in the array. So all the objects, basically, more precisely all the objects in the array. So we use this user maps, and we have as parameter user, and inside it we create a div, and div with key equals to user upon ID, which will reference this ID attribute inside the object. And afterward, an H3 element heading will be created for username, and a paragraph will be created for email. So pretty understandable. So in this example, we are creating a more complex CSS structure for each element, displaying both their name and email address. We are using the user ID as the key, which is a good practice. So in conclusion, rendering lists in React involve converting arrays of data into GX elements, typically using map function. Okay, interesting. So now let us go on to the questions. Okay, so what's the primary purpose of using key in props when rendering lists in React? To style list item, no, to help React identify changes in the list efficiently, to filter the list elements, items, to sort the list items. I think that it should be this. So it basically helps React to uniquely identify every item inside the list. I think that is also useful because it tells React which item has been rendered or not, something like that. It's a supposition. So it's a hypothesis. So which JavaScript method is typically used to transform an array of data into an array of JSX element in React map? When rendering a list of elements that have unique IDs, what is considered the best practice for the key props? Use the index of the item in the array, use a random number, use the item's unique ID, use the item's name or ID. When rendering a list of items that have unique IDs, what's considered? Use the index of the item in the array, use a random number, which is wrong. Use the item unique. Normally, before saying something is wrong, I need to justify it so that I will increase my reasoning ability. So use the item's unique IDs. So that's true. Or you will say this one is either this one or this one. Use the index of the element item. So normally they were not supposed to ask a question because we already know that the index of an element in an array identifies that element. So but the problem is that we can basically replace the index of that element. So we cannot say that, okay, every time that we come into an array, let's say of fruits, and inside the array there's orange, orange, banana, and so on and so forth. Every time when we come to this array, we cannot be sure that banana will always be at index 1. So that's basically, we cannot use it as, it's not, an index cannot be used as a unique ID. So let me say that, let me check. I got it right. So now let us continue. How do inline styles work in React? Another, when we speak about style, we talk about CSS. I want to say JavaScript, but CSS. So you guys should give me a minute. I have to check something. So now let us continue. So in React, inline styles uses CSS. That's just a fact. And someone said one day that most backend developers are just people that run. That's just people that run. I didn't want to use like those people that are afraid of CSS. Backend developers are the front-end developers that are afraid of CSS. That was pretty funny. So now let us continue. So now the React approaches to inline style involve using JavaScript object to define style rather than traditional CSS string. So this means that instead of writing styles as you will in CSS, in a CSS, you create a JavaScript object. Okay, I understand. So create a JavaScript object where the style, where the key are camel case. So key, yeah. Sorry, sometimes I really confuse. Is it either a key or an attribute? But I think it's key. So where the key is in camel case, what does it mean? Camel case means that the first letter of, let's say for example, we talk about let me think about a CSS property. Padding, no, a CS background color, let's say background color. Normally if I write it inside an HTML, a CSS file, I'll write it like this. Book this time here. I'll write it like this. Color. Color like this. So, but in React, when we talk about inline styling, and the attributes or the key will follow the camel case, that means that the first letter will be small, lowercase, so background, and the second letter and the first letter of the second word, which is color here, will be big. So that's basically camel case. So now let us continue. This means that instead of writing style as you will in a CSS file, you can create a JavaScript object where the keys are camel cased version of CSS property name, and the values are the string of the CSS value. So here's it. So basically here he defined the button with background color, font color white, border none, radius, border radius for padding, font size, font weight, cursor, and transition. So transition is that it's like, I think that he wants that the background color should take 0.3 seconds to transition. So that's it. And inside this button, function component button, we have style that have been this property style, this attribute style, in which we have certain a default style which is an object. So now does it what is button text? Okay, button text is this prop. So don't forget here that we're using data object destructuring. So now let's say in this example we define a style called default styles. We then apply this style to a button element using style attribute. React takes care of applying these styles to the element when it renders. So now you can also choose to pass an object directly to the style attribute. Here's what a revised example will look like. Okay, that's true. But the problem here is that the thing here to notice that there are two curly braces, whereas here there was just one curly braces. So the two curly braces is because the first pair or the inner pair of curly braces is for the object background for this object. So the object that contains the style of the button. So basically that is it. So now let's say it's important to note that while CSS properties names are typically written in kebab case, like kebab case, I don't know that. Normally I know the two cases, camel case, and there's another one where we use it to write the names of classes. I always forget that. I don't know why. So now let us continue. Like font size in React inline style, we use camel case like font size. So this is because the style object is a JavaScript object, and kebab case name is not valid as object key in JavaScript without using quotes. So now a great advantage of inline style in React is that they support dynamic styling based on component states or props. For example, let's see this code. So now we have this prop and it's been rendered. Where is it? Here. So now we check whether this prop is active, is true or false, using the ternary operator. This guy, and if it's true, it will be green. If it's false, it will be red. So basically, afterward, we return this guy. So we return the HTML element button with the prop, with the attribute. Sorry, not prop, because we are not in the app parent element. So we're still dealing with the child component. Are we passing the balance style object? So, like in summary, inline style in React provides a powerful way to apply and manipulate styles directly within your component. They use JavaScript object instead of CSS strings, require camel case property name, and can easily incorporate dynamic value. They are an essential tool in React Developer Toolkit, especially for creating highly customized and interactive user interfaces. So now let us go on to answer the questions. Hello, Ashif. Sorry if I don't pronounce the name rightly. So if isActive is true from the parent component, it will render the button. Um, mm, yes, that's true. Yes, 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 that's true. Yes, yes, you got it right. Because yeah, we just like yes, you got it right. That's right. That's right. Hello, how you doing? Nice to meet you. Hope you're doing well. Because basically, what happens with this props thing is that the child component. You will tell me if I'm wrong. So the child component is like a placeholder, and the parent component is like a is let's say giving in the data. Now, for example, let's say the parent component is like saying is active is equals to true. And when inside the parent component, when we want to render, let's say, button and style inside it, let's say with the attribute style, let's say equals to no, that's not it. So let's say, for example, we want to render dynamic button. Eventually, we can. It does not work. That's it. It cannot work. Sorry. Yeah, I think that you're wrong. I think that you're wrong. Yeah, I think that you're wrong because yeah, there's no. Okay, no, you're correct. You're correct. It's correct. So because there's this guy. It's correct. So it's correct. It's correct. It's correct because as I'm saying, this parent is true. So it returns dynamic. This parent makes is active true and it returns the dynamic button. And inside the dynamic button, we can set is true. We can set it like do it like this, and it would take that thing. Would take this the value of is active and set it inside here and return this. That's true. Thank you. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Dynamic button is active is equals to true. I don't think that we have these curly braces here. So let me check it. I don't think that we have these curly braces. Yeah, we don't. I don't think that we need these curly braces, but I will check it after. Thank you. Thank you. So now let us continue with the questions. So now in React inline styles, how should the React CSS property background color be written? Following the camel case, simple. What's an advantage of using inline style in React? It supports all CSS features, including major query. Wrong, because we didn't speak about major query as we were reading. They are all more performant than external CSS. Wrong, we didn't speak about performance. They allow for easy and dynamic styling based on component state and props. I will say true. This one is correct, and they are the only way to style React, which is fine. So, how are inline style applied to React element using style attribute with a JavaScript object? We are done. Learn to Google when you are stuck even helps me. Okay, I don't really understand what you mean. You mean that I should maybe check how this prop have been declared? I can show you the thing how we should pass in this value. Okay, I may show you. Let me show you the thing. Now, the problem is that with this thing that you wrote is that I'm saying that you don't need these curly braces. Does it? I think so. So let me just check it. I think it was rendering, conditional rendering. Let me check. It's not here. Let me check. How to pass prop to show. Yeah, there's it. Yes, I told you now. For example, here is a parent element. Normally, when you want to render this dynamic button, you render it from the parent element. So normally the parent component, let me say that, is always up. So basically, like when you use the Vite to initialize your React boilerplate, it always comes with this app.jsx file. So what happens here is that you may render it this dynamic button, and you basically don't need these curly braces, because what you are setting inside this value, this prop, is active. It's a boolean. So it's not useful. So I don't know what you think about it. If you think that I'm wrong, just type. Types is important to turn in. You know what? Let us ask ChatGPT, basically. And I think that maybe I'm wrong. Let me just check. And say we want to render it in the parent component. Maybe I should send also this dynamic button stuff, punch component, and see how does it look like. Okay, I understand. Okay, I understand. Now I understand what you mean. That's true. Because every time it's correct. What you're saying is correct. Now I understand what you mean. Yes, you understand. Because every time when you are inside this React stuff, like this, let's say this GSX markup, and you want to write something, anything else, something in JavaScript, you need to use curly braces. That's right. Totally right. That's right. So you are right. Thank you. You were right. So let me ask: must we use curly braces? Like is active for is active. Okay, you were right. So normally, but why is it that? So I was wrong. Normally, yes, it's saying that it's a syntax error. So normally you're supposed to use this boolean. Thank you very much, Ashif. Thank you. So now let us try and continue. So basically we learn together. That's true. So it's correct. Okay. So now let me do, because very soon the time is up, and let me just try and do this project. Let us do it together. So now let me continue with this project. This will be my last project before putting an end to the live. So if I'll be doing live, I think that I'll announce it on my page, on my YouTube channel. But tomorrow I think that I will do again a live. So be there. I'll be very happy to meet you guys again. So now let us start by doing this thing. So start by using export keyword to create a cat functional component. Let's say function cat with as props. So we use object structuring. So name, title, and view. Don't forget to make sure they are all wrapped in a curly braces. Yes, that way you destructure them instead of accessing them through props. Also return a pair of parentheses with an empty string inside it for now. So return empty string. I think that it's not curly braces, so parentheses, empty string. Yeah, the card is a child component receiving props, so okay. Inside the return statement, remove the empty string, create a div element. With class name. So Hashif, do you know why we use class name in React instead of using class? Cut. So thank you, say good job, thank you very much. So inside the div element, create an h2 element. So h2 element, interpolate the name props. Okay, I think curly braces, because yeah, name in as its text. Okay. What do you mean by don't use via code? Yes, I think that's correct. Class name, yeah, I have it right. So okay. Also inside the div, create a paragraph with class name. Close this guy. Class name is equals to cat title. So cat title, to interpolate the title. What I say, you need to space, which was wrong. You use space, which was wrong. So okay, you tell me that I have to, but is it that impacting? Okay, let's let us see to see. It's a title here. So now another paragraph of bio. I think there's nothing here. So let me check. Correct. So let's move on. To start using a cat component, use the export keyword to create an app functional component. Export function app. Inside, return a pair of parentheses with an empty string. Okay, there's an error here. Why is it not working? Okay. Let me finish this guy and so now basically that I recommend you watching a video tutorial on build mini project. Yes, you are right. I have already what I'm doing right now like this. I'm just trying to revise some React concept. So using the freeCodeCamp course, I'm also using it to create content, to make lives. So, but basically, I have a YouTube tutorial with 25 React projects that will teach me, that will improve my React basics the more. So what I'm doing here is just for fun and for the sake of making lives. So. Welcome. So return statement. Let me finish this thing. Actually, so class name here is equals to the return statement. Inside the result, replace the empty string with a div with class name, property, or flex. I don't know. Okay. Flex container. So, how many steps are remaining? Now put the cat component inside the app component. So I think it should be like this. Give it name, mark, title, front-end developer. I think that there's not there's a problem here. Okay, I don't know. copy to copy this. You pass title plus with value Frontend. Yeah, but sure. Oh, what's wrong here? Can you tell me? I don't know. Oh, I'm pretty tired, so I'll just leave it like this. We shall continue tomorrow. So thank you guys for watching. We shall meet up tomorrow again.